Welcome to the Sales Whisper Podcast, session 37. It's a great day for a rejection, right? Welcome to the 37th edition of the Sales Whisper Podcast. I'm Wes Schaefer, the Sales Whisperer, your host. Today, we have Jia Jiang. He is the dude on fearbuster.com with the 100 Days of Rejection Therapy that he recorded on his iPhone. So no, I'm not saying in the intro there that it's a great day for a rejection. But then again, maybe I am. You know, we let fear of failure keep us from launching. In this interview, you'll hear Jia talk about this as well, how rejection is not a negative. We think of it as being so painful, and it's simply what you make of it. So you've got to keep rolling with things. I was listening to a Derek Halpern podcast, an older one. We interviewed Mark Echo, and he said success is just the hangover of failure. So I love that. I was talking about that earlier this morning. But Jia Jiang, he's got an interesting story. He left corporate America with a baby on the way, launched a business. The business was rejected, and that's what started all of this. So make sure you've got a little thicker skin. Give yourself some time to develop those calluses, right? So you can handle not only the ups, but the downs that are inevitable in business. Okay? Professionals stick it out. Professionals understand the highs and the lows, and they still do what it takes to make their business grow. Okay, we talk about his new book that he just got to the editors. It's coming out in a year. I can't believe it takes that long, but it does. But he's sticking that out as well. If you want to check out a free sample of my new book, check out 79stories.info. And throughout this, he mentioned some of his favorite books, and one of them was an autobiography on, I don't know if it was autobiography, it was a biography of Thomas Edison that really inspired him. So if you want a free version of the audiobook, check out wesaudiobook.com. So without further ado, here is Mr. Jia Jiang. All right, let's see if I can get this right. Is this maybe the fifth time? Welcome, Jia Jiang?
There you go.
Did I get it?
You got it.
All right, man. Hey, thanks for taking the time. You're where I want to be, and I'm where you want to be. So you're in Austin. I want to get back, and I'm in Southern California, and you think you want to get here. So I don't know. Let's. I'll be out in another month. So you come out, and we'll try each other's houses out and see how that works.
Sure thing. All
right.
Let's do that.
So, hey, I found you last year watching your 100 Days of Rejection and then your fearbuster.com, and was just really intrigued as we spoke about earlier with how the fear of rejection holds so many people back. But for those that are not familiar with you, would you mind taking a few moments and just give everyone a quick overview of who you are and how this came to be, and then we'll dive into the meat of things?
Sure. I'm an entrepreneur who lives in Austin, Texas. I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur, but just a couple of years ago, I was still in the corporate world, climbing the ladder and just making an income. And and just right before my son was born, and my wife and I made an agreement saying if I want to be an entrepreneur, it's got to be now. So before my son was born, actually 4 days before I was born, my wife told me to quit my job. So, and I did. I started my own, my journey to be an entrepreneur and to pursue this dream. So I wanted to do software startup and just to build the next Google and Twitter, that. And then, few months into my venture, and I was rejected with an investment and by an investor. And when that happened, I really couldn't believe how much it hurt. At the time we prepared. I had a team already of engineers working for me, and we worked really, really hard to get that to make the pitch. We thought we were going to get it. When we didn't get it, it was very discouraging. And then the one thing I started seeing is how how discouraged I became after, someone told me no. And I thought there's got to be a better way to handle rejection than I was. And if I were ever going to become a good entrepreneur, I need to learn rejection. I need to learn to handle rejection. So I searched something and I found this thing called Rejection Therapy. This is it's an online game that tells you just to go look for rejection instead of running away from it. So I thought this is interesting, and so I put my own spin into this, and I started inventing some crazy ways to get rejected on purpose every day. So I started a video blog, and I wanted to do this for 100 days, where I would video record. I would just use my iPhone to record myself getting rejected, asking crazy stuff, and so so that's what that was my journey was about. And the funny thing is, I started this journey as something for my own, just to overcome my own fear. But one of my videos went viral. It's where I went to day 3, where I went to Krispy Kreme and asked the manager there to make me donuts that looked like Olympic rings. And she didn't say no. She actually took that very seriously, and she made it. And so I was. That video, I couldn't believe it, and that video also went viral. And so there are like over 6 million people views on that video alone. And then people started following me, and it's like, who is this guy just looking for rejection? And that's a very interesting story. So tons of people started following my story, and they started sending me, they started sending me stuff. Like at first it was just media. I was actually featured on Yahoo News and Business Week, and it was like couldn't believe it, because I thought I was going to be on all these news medias and national talk shows once I become a successful entrepreneur. Not when I failed and tried to overcome my fear of rejection, and then that's somehow people were a lot more interested in that than some other successful stories. And then people started writing me emails about their own story of rejection, how much they hated rejection, how much they feared it, how much that fear has held them back. So, by really embracing rejection, I found this whole big need that people have, and which is we're all afraid of rejection. So this is my new business now. This is my new venture, my entrepreneurial venture, and something to help others overcome their fear of rejection.
Yeah, that's amazing. So how long ago did this start? When was your baby born?
Yeah, it was about 1.5 years ago.
Okay. So middle of 2012.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Well, that was kind of like me. I mean, my wife, she's stuck by me for 18 and a half years now. And heck, I was on unemployment when 2 of my kids were born.
Wow.
So I remember reading that about you, and I thought, hey, very similar. But I guess you've experienced what I've always seen people say. Make your misery your ministry.
Yes.
Right. And that's your story.
That's a great line.
Yeah. I didn't make it up. I just heard it somewhere. So feel free to use it.
All right, I'll use it for sure. Because that's exactly what I do.
Yeah, and that's where so much opportunity lies, right? And now yours was pretty big, and I've seen people, I think I learned that from some friends of mine actually in Austin who were facing divorce and ended up recovering, if you will, and now that's their ministry, is helping married couples, stay married. So it can be dramatic, right? But it could be something little, like making a better mouse, making a better microphone, something that's irritating you. If it irritates you, if it's keeping you down, then it's probably keeping someone else down, right? And I think entrepreneurs look for this great ray of light, to make this profound difference when there's probably opportunity right under their nose they don't even see. Have you seen that?
Yeah, that's so true. We're talking about entrepreneurs like, Steve Jobs talked about he started doing, he started Apple, and later on he found, he built iPod and the iPhone just because the product at the time, the equivalent products, they all sucked. Right. He really hated them. So he's like, and I need to build this on my own. And the first customer for the product he invented were just himself and his team. So I totally agree with you. If we see something that really bothers us, whether that's something we experience personally in our own lives, or as a product that's on the market, we feel the inconvenience. You like as you mentioned, usually people just say what it's life is tough. I'll just overcome this. But actually, a lot of people are probably experiencing the same inconvenience and pain that we're experiencing right now. So those are opportunities.
So you were a software engineer in corporate America?
No, actually, I started as a software engineer, but then later on I got my MBA and I was working in marketing.
Gotcha. And then I forget now, forgive me, but you immigrated, though. Were you a teenager or a young adult? When did you come to America?
Teenager. One was 16 years old.
Okay. And so did you know English then, or did you learn it once you came here?
No. I grew up in China, and the only language I spoke was Chinese and a little bit of Japanese. But when I first came here, the only words I knew were like, yes, no, thank you. I know the word NASDAQ, just because at the time it was pretty crazy. It was a .com boom, and I learned that I wanted to become a tech entrepreneur. I've always wanted to do it. So NASDAQ was one of the first words I learned. So you had to overcome the language barrier. Then you still, you get your degree, you get an MBA. Were you thinking at that point, heck, I've done so much, overcome so much, this software venture is going to work? Or were you still kind of a little hesitant as you were launching, and that's why it hurt so bad? Can you walk us through that? It's actually because I've been, from outside perspective, I've been pretty successful in my life. As you're mentioning, overcoming, migrating to a whole new culture. And then, I was having a pretty good job at a Fortune 500 company, making six-figure incomes. So, I had a lot of people are thinking I was having a great life and having a wonderful family. I gained a lot of respect from people by doing that. But then I felt, like the social status thing sounds pretty good on the outside, but in the inside, it felt like, I was really compromising my own dream by having a secure job, so yeah. And it was that struggle, is that sort of, opportunity cost that was there that actually prevented me from launching my startup for years and years. So,
just of my own interest, we may figure out how to tie this in, but what is the entrepreneurial energy or drive like in China versus America? Is that what drove your parents, your family to come to America, or was that a tough adjustment for you, or had you, even as a young child in China, had this entrepreneurial dream?
Yeah, actually, I had this drive when I was in China. So when I was 8 years old, I read Thomas Edison's autobiography, and I thought that was so cool that he invented all these things. So I wanted to become an inventor someday. Then when I was when I was 14, I saw Bill Gates. He came to visit China, and he gave a talk at Peking University. And so that was like a life-changing moment for me, because I thought, this Bill Gates sounds so much cooler than Thomas Edison. He's actually inventing this new software revolution that's actually changing every day. And so that's where the direction I wanted to go. In China at the time, there weren't this kind of a culture for like software innovation, technology innovation. There is a lot of that right now. Actually, one can, you can actually argue that there's probably, even the same, if not more, drive there for young people to have that. But at the time, there weren't a whole lot. And so, I learned that Bill Gates, is from here. So I better go where Bill Gates is and do my own thing. So that's why I came.
Oh, very cool. So you took this whole rejection thing to a whole nother level, right? What convinced you to record yourself and do it for 100 days and make even tougher rejections?
So to start, I was just, one, I was trying to be creative. I want to have some fun because rejection sounds like a very, tough and serious and painstaking problem, and I had that problem. And so I'm like, how can I inject some sort of fun and creativity into this really tough subject? So that's the first reason I started it. And then I want to do this for 100 days and record myself and make a video blog out of this because I want people to hold me accountable. Like when you're doing this in a project, I want to do this for 100 days. So it's a long time. It's very tough to do this day after day. So I was like, what's the best way to hold myself accountable? I would just do this in public, and so if people, so strangers or the whole world can hold me accountable if I don't finish it. So that's what I did.
That's very cool because I was going to ask you that there had to have been days when you didn't want to get out of bed or get in your car. I know growing up, at least when the phone still worked as a prospecting tool in the late 90s, we were dialing for dollars. And I can't say I ever once wanted to pick up the phone and cold call a prospect, but back then that was our tool. And I just did it. I had a wife, a baby, another baby on the way, and that was what I did to feed them. So I can appreciate having some type of accountability, something to really literally force you to get the job done. I mean, do you find most people need something like that? I mean, literally burning of the bridges, burning of the ships behind us, so you have nowhere to go but forward?
I think so. Like we use that analogy of burning ships behind us is as if it was life and death. Really just in business, it's not life and death. After we fail at something, we still go back to our family. We still can live. But is that fear of that sort of failure of being rejected by someone that really is holding us back? And sometimes it's not even rational. It's just like, what if this happens? It's going to be so bad. I don't know what's going to happen even when we get rejected. So, so that fear become a monster all by itself. So I experienced this, firsthand just to, the first few days it was really tough, the first day I went and asked a stranger to give me $100. So, that sounds like, sounds interesting. I mean, it sounds fun, but actually when I actually did it, it was really, really scary. But by doing that, I think what helped me is, first of all, I had this, I give myself an out, the 100 days, I just do this for 100 times. After that, you can do something else. So there's an end goal inside that have always helped me. And secondly, what really, really helped me was like a lot of people started sending me emails. I got this support. I got this, I found the whole world was pulling for me to go through this. And they were sending me emails, encouraging me, told me how much I've inspired them. And so I feel by having that kind of accountability group or having a support system, whether it's through with your, friends or family or even strangers, that really helped.
That's funny. You're talking about everybody pulling for you, but when you started this, I mean, that wasn't your goal. You didn't even know that would happen, did you?
No, absolutely not. I thought that was just a personal project. I would just, do this and from on my own. I never thought this would turn into a monster or maybe a beauty, so just just by keep doing it.
So the other thing you said, you gave yourself an out. You're only going to do this for 100 days. I mean, most people would say, you know what, I'm going to do it for 3 days. I'm going to do it for 7. And you do 100. Why 100?
Well, first of all, 100 is very fun number. And it turned out I feel if I've done this again, I probably do it shorter. 100 is a long time. 100 days is a long time. But later on, I started doing this for other people. I feel the benefit of doing this, go look for rejection for me, kind of tailors off after about maybe 20 days or 30 days. It gets kind of repetitive. I get it. I'm not afraid of rejection anymore. But then I started doing, this is part of a blog, and a lot of people are pulling for me. And also, it feels like I'm living a lot of people's lives, that people are saying, I'm afraid to do this, I'm afraid to do that. Just by seeing you every day, I get inspired. So I was really helping other people by doing this as well. So that's what so that's why I could keep going and feeling pretty good about it.
So, do I remember right? Or are you working on a book?
Yes, I am.
And so, did you meet your goal? Because you were getting it to the publisher or wrapping it up before this interview.
Yes, I did. 20,000 words. Otherwise we wouldn't be talking. I would be burying myself and trying to finish it up. So yeah. So the first, I met my first milestone, which is 20,000 words.
Right. And so you got that off to what, the proofreader or the editor?
Yeah, I sent it to I sent it to the editor for the publisher, right. And also I sent it out to a few people to kind of to proofread it for me.
And when will that be available?
You mean the book?
Yes.
The whole thing?
Right.
I think the deadline for turning in the whole manuscript is May of this year. So, and the book won't be out because it's done by a big publisher. It won't be out until next year.
Oh, wow!
So, yeah, it's gonna be a while.
That's amazing. I've self-published a couple, and I'm not patient enough to wait for publishers.
Yeah, I don't blame you for that because it surely is a long time.
Well, that's fantastic, though. You got picked up by a publisher. What have you learned in the book writing process that our listeners can benefit from if they think they've got a book in them, which they do?
Yeah, everyone. I actually encourage everyone to do it. And first thing I want to say is just if you really want to write a book, don't want to write a book, start writing a book. That's the start. That's the starting point. But I had this problem in my mind. I let ideas rot in my mind for so long just because I want to, find the perfect time and perfect day in the future that I can do this. When the kids are not screaming, when I'm rich and when I'm just everything's perfect. When that time comes, I can just sit by the beach and write a book. That actually. First of all, might never come, but when it does come, we might be a long time from now. It might be too late. So, and I feel like if you want to write a book, you should write a book when you're when you're struggling, when you're having some sort of, a mental fight, or like a tough time in life, because that's when I feel you're most creative. Is when you have that conflict and be true, and own that conflict, and own your fear. When you have that fear, let it show on the in your words, and that's what's making it relatable. So, and then when you do it, one of the big things, if you want to self-publish, like now everyone can publish a book just by self-publishing. You need to just work really hard to market the book. If you want to get picked up by a publisher. You need to start networking with agents and things like that. So, there are different ways to do this, but the starting point is you. You just have to get started.
So what are your 2014 fear rejection goals?
2014 fear rejection goals? Are you talking about my the business side or talking about just new rejection ideas?
Both.
Oh, yeah. So, with the business side, I want to finish my book, and I want to continue my blog and have different ways to get rejected and share this with the world. And excuse me. And also, I want to get my business churning in terms of helping others. Just so many people there are quite a few people saying, like, how are you doing this? And just kind of walk me through the process. So I'm thinking about doing a course here in Austin just to start. Then I'll do this. I'll put this course online. So that's what I want. That's what I want to do.
Yeah. So are you creating like a mastermind sort of group or live events where people can come to you and learn how to overcome their fear? Or how are you going to deliver that?
So to start with, I will start here with a mastermind type of thing here in Austin, just for my first class, because I want to understand. I want to do this at least once. Just me being out there and interacting with people day after day. I don't want to do this for like 4 to 5 weeks. Then afterward, I'll do this online. I'll put this online, so it's more scalable. So people can access it easier.
So, are you going to continue filming yourself like you did with the first 100 rejections?
Yes, I will. I'll do that less frequently than I did the 400 days, just because I need to know. I know I need to focus on the big thing currently, which is right now it's my book. But since I met my goal, my milestone, and I have a little bit of downtime right now, so I'll start filming again. It's more like once a week rather than once every day.
Are you still nervous when you go do it?
Not really. But the thing is, if I stop doing it for a while, then when I did it again, I did feel a little bit of nerve, just because courage is like a muscle in your mind, in your brain. If you don't exercise it, it's gonna atrophy. So you have to keep exercising mentally in order to keep up your edge.
Have you been recognized like in the filming of any of these, and which made it easier, or people still haven't really heard about you even in your hometown?
There are people who recognize me on the street. That when I was walking, some people driving by, they stopped. Or when I was in the bookstore, people were like, "Hey," So, but luckily, when I was filming this, no one has recognized me yet.
Well, when those people recognize you, pull your phone out and ask them for $100 and see if they get.
Yeah, I'll do that.
You say, "Fantastic! You're the first one in my new group. Welcome."
Yeah.
Well, what are you reading now? What's on your bookshelf? It keeps you inspired and motivated and educated as you build this new business.
Yeah, I just finished reading this book called Everything Store. It's a book talking about how Jeff Bezos built Amazon.com. Fascinating story. Amazon.com is nothing like what I want to build. I want to. I'm using the rejection right now as my entrepreneurial idea, and I want to build a really, really, meaningful company to the world, and having impact. But it's nothing like it's not in the same. We're not doing the same thing as like online retail. But by reading this book about how a guy, like a Wall Street guy, just one day decided to start this everything store online, I got a lot of inspiration and courage by building my business. So if you're interested in business, I would, or technology, I would highly recommend this book.
And the best place people can find you, you want to direct them to fearbuster.com?
Yes, fearbuster.com.
And I see here we can subscribe to your blog, but do you have any type of waiting list or early bird sign up for your programs you're developing?
Not yet, but I will send out some notification soon, especially here in Austin. And but if you subscribe to my blog, and I would definitely keep you updated. So my online course will come out not too long after that as well. So I will keep you hosted. I'll keep you posted. Right. And so also when the book comes out, then that's where I would tell my subscribers, give the early bird thing for the book and for both the book and course.
Right.
So yeah, subscribe.
So any final words of wisdom for our listeners? Basically the Nike motto, just do it.
just do it is the thing. And I'll share one thing. We think about rejection as something very negative, something so painful. We don't really talk about rejection a lot. And from my experience, I feel that's a mistake we make. Because rejection, I found, is really just someone's opinion, right? So everyone has their opinion about politics, about the world, about a lot of subjects. We don't pay too much attention about those. But when with the opinions are about us, and then when they reject us, somehow it has a major impact on us and make us feel some sort of truth about who we are, which is not true. This is rejection. I found says more about the person who gave the rejection than the people who received it. So don't get too bogged down by people's opinions. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I think it was Zig Ziglar that said, failure is an event, not a person.
True.
Right? I mean,
True.
It's just feedback. I love it. So I will link to you from this podcast, and I appreciate you taking the time. And again, everybody, please visit fearbuster.com and sign up for his blog and get notified. And Jai, I would encourage you, don't limit yourself to just Austin. I mean, seeing what you've done, following you through your TEDx talks and YouTube, I guarantee you people will get on a plane from all over the U.S. and probably even the world to come hang out with you. So spread the word far and wide. Let people come.
Thank you. And also, I'm trying to find a way so you don't have to jump on the plane, so you can just get it on your computer or on your mobile phone. Right. But if you do want to jump on the plane and just hang out, let's do it.
Hey,
I'm always welcome.
Get some Rudy's barbecue, maybe hit Salt Lick, huh? I mean, Austin's a cool town.
Yeah, Austin is a great town.
All right. Well, thank you for taking the time.
Thank you.
Bam. How do you like them rejection apples? I thought it was interesting when he answered my question about being an immigrant. I remember reading somewhere a couple of years ago that immigrants to America are 4 times as likely to become a millionaire than those born here. And it's because they see how much better things really are. They see the opportunities here rather than the challenges because they come from nations that are not as free. Despite the crazy laws that keep being passed by our drunk, corrupt Congress, but I digress, we still are the freest nation, at least for the moment. There is a ton of opportunity. But if you let fear hold you back, keep you from just doing it, like you were talking about with writing, just get started. It'll make you more creative. Draw from your struggles. Gain inspiration from it, okay, to build something worth building, even if that means you fail while you do it. So I loved hearing your story, how he read Thomas Edison. He saw Bill Gates. He was inspired by the great achievements that these men made. And so that led him, to leave his cushy corporate America job with 6 figures, a baby on the way, launched a business that failed. But because he was in the realm of ideas and business, like always happens, more opportunity presented itself. Like I told him, make your misery your ministry. So whatever you're struggling with, there's probably an opportunity there for you to make a business out of it. So as always, I thank you for listening. Please visit the website. This one is thesaleswhisper.com/session37. And leave a few comments. Feel free to ask questions. I'll answer them as best I can. Go to iTunes, leave a few comments, and to check out a free sample of my new book, It Takes More Than a Big Idea. One day I'll get this right. It takes more than a big smile, a good idea, and a Twitter account to build a business that lasts. 79 stories on selling with integrity, automating your marketing, and living abundantly. To get a free sample of that, visit 79stories.info. And as always, sell different.